right, and welcome to episode 5 of VR Dev Talk. I'm Fisto, and I'm here with Big Squirmy. Another great episode in store, Squirmy. What's going on with you?
Not too much, man. Just living the dream, getting it
Living the dream.
done.
You playing with that Oculus Pro?
Yeah, man. I
What do
haven't
you
I,
think?
I haven't used the two since I got it. I've just been using it's so much easier to take on and off, like, because when you're developing, you're taking it on and off a lot. And
That
it's
that that's always what that's always the hard thing in a game. Like, and what I see people recommend is you build a keyboard controller at the same time you're building your VR controller, so you can test in the game without getting into VR. You know what? I don't do that. Do
Yeah,
you?
I do, like, for some stuff. Like, I have inputs set up to where I can
Hmm.
control the spaceship and with
Yeah.
keyboard and mouse, so I can, like, it comes in handy for, like, testing multiplayer stuff and stuff like that. But, like,
Right. Oh,
when
that
it,
makes sense.
whenever I'm doing, like, like, all the grab controls and stuff like
Hmm.
that, I'd rather just do that in the headset because you get a better feel for how everything looks and how it's grabbing and where it's grabbing and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. The idea of I I I think it would be great if you had it's great for the non VR parts of the game, I suppose, right? But if you're doing VR work, you kind of have to test it in VR, right? I I've been playing with my Pro, and I have a lot of thoughts about that. I like it a lot, but it still feels like a wicked misstep on Facebook's Meta's part. And it's a nice device, but it's heavy, right? It's heavier than a Q2.
I don't really notice the weight. For
Oh,
me, for me, it feels better because with the weight of the battery in the back.
yeah.
So
I I
if it is a little bit heavier, which I mean it is by the
yeah.
spec wise, but
It it
I don't
is.
notice
It
it as
is.
much.
I'll tell you how I noticed it is, I have a number of headsets, and when I'm developing, right, the batteries run out, so I have to swap to a different headset, and I did that. My Pro ran out of batteries, and I put in a Q2, and I have one with a custom head strap, and then I have just the stock head strap. And sometimes the stock head strap, the stretchy one, is good for developing because it's very quick to put on and take off. And you know, but the Pro is a beautiful device. The lenses are beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem I've had with mine so far is I noticed, like, because, like, I don't put it on the charging dock all the
Oh.
time. Like, I'll leave it plugged in because I leave it plugged into the computer because
Oh. Right. Right.
I'm either using it in the desktop mode with the link cable, or I'm using it
Hmm.
or I'm pushing the build straight to the device to test it. And
Oh.
so I'll just put it on the counter right there, right next to my desk. And
That's where you got to put your charger. You got to move your charger
well,
so that you
the charger is there, but
yeah.
like, you know, it's kind of
I
finicky
know.
to
I
get
know.
it on there, and so it's easier just
Yeah.
to set it down. So, but it charges with the link cable fine.
Yeah. It is.
But
It is a
but
little
but I
finicky.
noticed that with the link cable, even though it's charging, I don't know
Mhm.
if it's like got a timeout on it or something like that, or if once it fully charges, then it turns off the port or something like that, because it'll stop charging, and then to get it to start charging with the cable again, you have to unplug it and plug it back in.
Ah, that makes sense. That kind of makes sense. That also probably explains why I lose the port sometimes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And that can be frustrating. It's like I'll do a build and then I'll try to use link again. Try to use the port again. It'll be like, I don't know, But
Yeah, but other than that, man, I've been getting a lot of the back end stuff going.
mhm.
I started when I first started setting everything up. I started setting it up with the cloud scripts and PlayFab, but then
Ooh,
I got away from that and started using the Azure functions. And man, those things are so nice.
wait a minute, dude. How long you been working on this game?
Probably about a year, but like I
Because
said, but if you
Cloud Script was deprecated a long time ago.
yeah, yeah, but you can still use it. It's not
Oh,
deprecated, it's just considered legacy, You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um,
Uh, but
I,
it still worked fine. But
what are you doing that you need Azure Functions for?
I'm using it for setting up the in-app purchase stuff, and I'm using it for I got right now. I got some different like reward systems set up. Like it's gonna track. It'll track and put users into different categories. So like I think I'm gonna do like if a user logs in like 7 days in a week or
Right.
something like that, then they get a reward or maybe some coins or something like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I that's interesting because when I released my game Flying Squirrel Chase, I didn't have a back end built into it at all, you
Hmm.
know? And so I did eventually go to PlayFab. I Somebody told me about PlayFab and I was like, "Oh, I should look into that." And it took me a long time. It took me like a month like, "Oh, maybe I should." And then I was like, "Oh, I need a back end." And so I was able to build it live, put a
Yeah,
change in and push it out and stuff. I
yeah, and
wasn't ready.
it's so nice though. The PlayFab's nice. I love it, and
Oh,
the Azure functions are even man. You could do some cool stuff with it.
yeah.
Like for instance, one of the things so that I don't have to store. I don't want to store the Oculus secret on the client build,
Right.
So
Yep.
I uploaded it. I created a key store uh, on Azure, and then I can use the Azure function to get the key and then return the request back to me to
Oh,
send to get the in-app purchases and
oh, dear. All my keys
anything.
are hard coded in the Azure function. I probably should have used the key store. Oops.
Well, you can do it that way, but technically there's still a way that it can still be got. So
Yeah.
it using the key store just abstracts it away in uh, one more layer to make it harder to get.
I actually do have my keys secured, but they're secured inside the application. I actually hired a guy in Fiverr to help me out with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
I could get up and running with Azure Functions, but I wasn't like up on best practices. And I found this guy in Pakistan,
Yeah.
and it's a little hard to catch up with him because of the time difference. But he's like a real expert.
Well, the good thing about the Azure functions too is that you can do everything in C sharp.
Yeah,
You don't have
yeah.
to mess with the JavaScript.
Yes. Right. It's nice language and it's fast and it's cheap.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I pay. I think I have an Azure function for my purchases, and God, I bet I pay less than $10 a month for it. You know,
Yeah, it's
in
only like
usage.
yeah, it's free for up to a million calls a month. And then but with the Azure functions you do have like a storage that it has to use like to store the actual application, so that's really all you're paying for unless
Yeah,
you have over a million calls a month. But
yeah. I don't. In my account's not a million free calls.
yeah,
I initially had an account. Once you pass the threshold, you have to pay for things.
yeah.
So
And then
I'm one.
the key store is I think the key store is key store is free for 10,000 calls to it, and then after that it's like $5 a month or something per
Yeah, right.
key or something like
Absolutely.
that.
That's kind of the wonderful thing about Azure. I mean, and they have everything up there, whatever you need.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
And well, so I started whenever I started with the back end, I started with the Google stuff. I was gonna because I have a lot of my stuff on Google already anyway, like my
oh,
domain and
oh, hmm
emails and all that stuff for the domains are all through Google, and like my websites hosted through Google, and so I was gonna set everything up through there, and then uh man, it was just like it was a mess. Like um, the documentation to me, it just wasn't as clear as a lot of the Azure stuff. And then I had contacted tech support because they had like originally instead of like how I'm doing now with the Azure function and the key store, I was
yeah,
gonna just do like an API gateway or something like that, or
Hmm.
or reverse proxy or something like that. And but they have a few different ways you could do it, and with Google they have different services that can do it. And so like I contacted tech support and like, hey, this is what I got, this is what I want to do. Which would be the
Yeah.
best way to go about it, which service should I use. And then tech support came back and was like, uh it was, for one, it took like 20 minutes just for me to explain what I wanted them to look at, what I wanted them to do. And then by the time they understood, well, by the time I thought they understood, like 20, 30 minutes had passed. And then they're like, okay, let me check on this. And then they come back and then they send me a link like, what about this? Would this do what you want? And then I don't remember what it was because it was a while ago, but it was like not even remotely close to what I needed. And
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, never mind, bye.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, you know,
and
it's
then
a
and
tough call.
then the fact that PlayFab is pretty much integrated to Azure, since they're both Microsoft, it makes it a lot easier. And then like,
I,
yeah,
I,
I
I
don't know
actually,
if you've used the Visual Studio Code plugins, because you can, but if you haven't, they're really nice. You can, um, the Azure functions, you can create them through Visual Studio Code. You don't have to actually go to the dashboard on the web. You can do it all through Visual Studio
oh no,
Code.
that's what I do. That's what I do.
And then
I use,
same thing with
yeah,
PlayFab, and then you can see everything. And then you
yeah,
can when you're testing, you can run it locally and then test everything in the app locally, so you're not calling out to the server. Make sure it all works
right,
locally first, and then
right.
deploy it and all that. So it's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. And it's, it's what a world we live in to have access to this infrastructure in a pay-as-you-go model, right? So you can build these phenomenal things. Like, I built a multiplayer game. Um, I'm trying to think, what, 220,000 players at this, so far, and I built it for less than $1,000, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's this thing that I could have never done without some kind of hosted managed solution. Even the multiplayer is Normcore. That, I mean, I got going for, can't even remember what I think I had a free account, right? They give you a
Hmm.
free, there's a free account until you hit some bandwidth limits. Oh, and then I signed up for like the $65 version, right? 65 bucks a month. They give you 3 terabyte. If you go with that, you pay more. Yeah, phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't beat those prices. But all right, hey, did you see in one of the new Oculus SDKs that just came out? I believe it's part of the Move platform. Mm, Move is motion, hand tracking, eye tracking. This is interaction layers. They've been working on they number one, touchable overlays, so that in VR you can have a screen, a floating world space screen, and your hand can interact with it.
Yeah.
They've worked on grabbing, I believe. What else? And they have other motions.
Yeah.
Basically, the
So
ability to bake hand poses as well as physics poses
yeah,
on
it's
objects.
all that's part of their interaction SDK, right?
Right, right. Are you using that?
No, I tried it, man. I did. I wanted to use it, uh,
Really?
because I wanted to look at it because they finally came out and said, that it's not locked just to Oculus, right? That you can actually use it cross-platform for other devices. So I was like, oh, okay, well that's cool then.
If you use OpenXR.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try it out. So then I put it in,
Mhm.
started looking around at some of the samples. First of all, the documentation that they have, like a lot of this stuff is just horrible.
Yeah.
And it was just really convoluted the way a lot of this stuff was working, and how a lot of this stuff, like they changed it to where you got to use like these, you got to put these surface interfaces on anything you want to use, and then like add you know assign a surface to it and all that. And like I don't know. I played around with it for probably like a day and a half, and I was just like, man,
Right.
this is just stupid. And then after that, I took it out, and then you started put in the Unity XR integration toolkit,
Hmm.
which is the built-in Unity one that's like built on
Right.
top of
Right.
OpenXR.
Right.
And man, that one was just so much more simpler and so much more extendable. I find uh,
Really.
I was
Hmm.
up within the hour. I had it all working, and
Yeah.
then it's easily extendable.
Well,
You got
I looked at that and I was like, oh, this is a mess.
and you can do the
You know.
same, and you can do the same things as like you can have the world lock layer and have
Hmm.
the pointing and all that. You can do
Yeah.
the exact same thing, and
Oh, good, good. I've always used frameworks, VR, IF, and
well,
Hurricane Hexabody.
I just got away from VRIF.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's why I had started looking at the Oculus integration, and then the Oculus interaction stuff, and SDK, and then and then eventually moved over to
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
to the Unity built-in XR interaction toolkit, um, and it was just yeah, I like it better.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Over the weekend, I was playing with everybody's favorite Hurricane Hexabody, Emerald AI, and Puppet Master Final IK. I'd done some a mock-up of sort of a shooter, and my AI I was using Emerald AI 3, which is pretty nice, but it does have this. It's kind of easy to get something going, but and it takes a lot of configuration as to really get it looking good, and it still suffers from this odd behavior every now and again. And I'm not sure that somebody who knows the tool better could do a better job. I'm sure it's really all about configuration, right?
Yeah, it's
For the
configuration and then knowing the system,
right,
and that's kind of why I get away from if I can help it. I don't like to use because like the issue I was having with VRIF. I was having some weird issues, and then
right,
like I reached out to some people on their Discord and stuff, and couldn't really get any answers on there, and then um,
yeah, yeah. I can.
so I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time like extending and working on another somebody else's tool that they created to sell for me to
Right,
use if I can just use something that's built in and then extend it to do the same thing with not that much more work.
right, right.
And
I
then I know
think.
exactly how it works, and I don't have to go and
Right,
search.
exactly. I think with Emerald AI, I'm using it in VR, and it's a mature asset, and I'm sure in regular 3D the issues wouldn't be the same. And there are just things I don't like about um, the way I have it configured, which is your characters are in VR, they have correct colliders, so you can go up to them and push them, but you don't really interact with them at all. You like if you push them, it doesn't do anything, and it's like it exists, and at least my hand doesn't go through it, right? Which for me is a total sin in VR, right? And so I was like, wait a minute, I know, I haven't tried Puppet Master and Final IK in a little while, so I got that out, and I'm looking around. Let's see, I have a video or two I was gonna show you. Right. Got it. Um,
All
and
right.
this
First
is,
puppet.
let me
Mhm.
turn the volume off on that. Now, when when I touch something, a character in VR, I expect him, number one, I can grab his hand, I can move his arm. It's a little springy
Yeah,
in this
yeah, yeah,
particular
yeah.
case, but I can pick him up, I can move him, right? And he becomes unbalanced and he regains his balance. I just want a sense of you know a real character in the world, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And so I did that guy. Oh, this is the pilot you just saw is the stock character for Puppet Master, and it's one thing to get their rig working, but it's hard to set up your own, right? So I have theirs, which I tweaked a certain way, and I have it in the same level as the one I'm working on, so I can, try to get the settings correct. And this guy doesn't stay unbalanced very long. He just tends to fall. And the other guy will actually he'll windmill his arms as he tries to regain balance. But this I like because he's, part of the world. And Puppet Master is nice because you can do things like alter the collision difference by part of the body. For instance, not in this video, but I think later, I added, I set the weight for the head, the collision resistance for the head to be lower than the rest of the body. So if you whack them in the head, they'll fall down easier, right? They boom. I just like with uh that guy has a little more resistance. This guy has a little less. If you slap him across the face, he'll pass right out, you know? And I added damage handlers for hurricanes, so you can shoot these guys and they'll take damage. I added I experimented with loosening the bone chain when you grab somebody's arm. If you grab his wrist, it frees up a bit of the skeleton, so you can move it. That's not exactly what you're seeing here. It is kind of, but I got it better where um, the
It
chain
looks good though.
becomes loose when you grab it. And after that, I don't think I have video of it, but I added stabbing to the ragdoll collider. This, Final IK Puppet Master needs a ragdoll to work with when it collapses, and I was able to put hurricane grabbable on it. And so it's a grabbable object, so you can go up to a character and grab their hand. So when they're in their dead state, you can pick them up and drag them around the level. And I
Very
also
good.
added a stabbable component to all the colliders, so that all these characters are stabbable. You can take things, pick them up, and stab them. And I updated the colliders so that they reduce the pin strength of the bone that the collider is on. So if you stab them in the arm will go limp. And they can still animate and run around and stuff. Like they'll fall over because of the force. There's also force being applied. So they'll fall over and they'll be stabbed. And when they get up, that arm will be limp as they walk around the room.
Yeah,
And you can even do it with a leg, and it changes their gait, right?
that's pretty nice. So what's the plan for that game? What's the
Damn,
premise?
damn good question. And I really don't know.
Is it
I want to
just like
talk.
you're just kind of playing around with it now, and then maybe see what it turns into, or?
Well, I'll tell you what. I got a platformer prototype that I got some good feedback on like a year ago. And
Hmm.
the thing is to take it now and polish it up. And somehow it hasn't gelled for me. Like I haven't become passionate about that particular project. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
good, but is it really that good? Is it good enough? And I keep thinking, I had this mega space opera in my head I wanted to do, and this is supposed to be like a shooter, right? And just kind of a my not so much mindless, but a little bit old school shooter in VR. So it's an old school shooter, but it takes advantage of the stuff in VR, the new things in VR. And the more I do it, I'm like, well, I need this for my, space opera sort of game. So honestly, it's a developer's nightmare. We have too many prototypes, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
we've talked about this. You've got a million prototypes too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and
Yeah.
by the way, if you're listening and you can't see what we're talking about here, you can
Oh,
the link for the YouTube will be in the description, and all of our podcasts go up on YouTube, so you can go in there and check it out.
all right. Great. So, I mean, that's what I've been playing with, and I don't know exactly what I was thinking is particularly was sort of a sci-fi shooter because I can go kind of wacky on the weapons. I think there are games out there that do realistic guns fairly well,
Hmm.
and I don't think I can. Number one, I don't think I can do better than some of these games with realistic. guns, but I also think sci-fi weapons can be quite a blast.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I love
I've
sci-fi weapons.
I've done a couple of prototypes, and with the right amount of particles and whatever, it's just crazy. I did one ray gun where the muzzle flash is sort of huge, and it's kind of impressive in VR, right? You aim down the barrel, you blast something, you can't see for a second if you got it because the muzzle flash is so big,
Yeah.
and it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I
Do
had
you have guns in yours?
there's not guns, but there's different weapons, right?
Hmm.
So
For the ship.
for the ship, yeah. And so like a matter of fact, I just implemented some actually here, are you done sharing your screen? I'll share mine and
Yeah,
show you.
yeah. Oh God, oh, I'm dying to see this
Let's,
video.
let's see. Share your screen.
So, do you have people testing this now? Do you have people hop on and play with you, or?
Um Screen. Actually, no, this is what I need to share. Yeah, I mean, so I have in my house, four, I have four, you know, headsets. I got the Quest 2, I got
Hmm.
the Pro, and then I got two Rift S's, which my kids use. So most of the time,
Right,
whenever I want to test multiplayer stuff, I just go in there and
right, right.
let's see here. Is this? Oh wait, no, this ain't what I wanted. Hang
Hmm.
on, wrong screen.
Wrong screen.
Actually, I think I need to bring it up first. 1 second.
I,
There we go. Yeah, so that should allow me to select it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is just kind of a an image of a laser, one of the
hmm.
laser weapons that I just took a
Ooh.
screenshot of. So basically, you got four guns on the ship, and then so like I set it up to where all the lasers are kind of like charge up to this center
Yeah.
point right in front of the ship, and then it'll blast like the main laser that you do damage with, and then that one lasts for like like maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and it's up to the player to kind of aim it in the right spot, and
Wait a
then
minute. Are you going to have eye tracking with this? I know you
no, no,
experimented
no,
with it.
no,
No.
no eye
All right.
track.
Let's
Well, I
see it.
mean,
Let's see.
I'm gonna have eye tracking, but
Yeah. Oh,
the,
I want to see more video. Do you have more video?
yeah, this is a little this is just a little UI test. I was just
Yeah.
testing some visual feedback here on the UI
Hmm.
for the that's the shield whenever you get hit, you know, and
Hmm.
then once your shield goes away, then it you get the same kind of visual whenever you get hit on the ship. And
I
then
love it. I love it.
I got these other screens done too, but
Hmm.
I don't have them in the video here because I don't I kind of to keep myself you know like I guess the words on track.
Hmm.
I try to put in just what I'm working on at the time so that that's all I see and that's all I'm focused on, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, I see something over here on this screen that I need to fix, and I'll go do that, and then when I'm really trying to work on this stuff over here,
Right. Right. Right.
so like this is just an old screen. This isn't even how it looks anymore. Um, but this is just get like just different stuff just that I used just this one to just test stuff and put it in there and just test it and
Hmm.
see how it looks, see how it works. And
Right.
then let's see, I think I got
It's
some
kind of
other
neat.
videos here.
Kind of neat. I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, man, it's coming along. I think I'll be, if everything goes right, I think I'll be right on time for right before Christmas, maybe.
Yeah. That boy, that'd be nice. Be nice to get out.
Yeah, yeah, that's the plan. That's definitely the plan. And
Yeah,
then
dude. But if I spend, if I keep spending 4 days on playing with Puppet Master, I'm never gonna ship.
oh, I
You
know.
know what I mean?
Oh,
And
here's a cool one I can show you right here.
yeah, yeah.
This is one of the in-app purchases. Um,
Ooh.
let's see. Where
I had my app on the store before in-app purchase was available. And that was a real concern to me because, oh, is that pickle Rick?
Yeah, but
Oh man.
I just use that just to play around with. But basically, it's just a little a little thing that you can. It's gonna be like they got different items that you can get and hang in the ship, and then they just kind of move around as you're flying
Oh, I
around.
like it. Oh, that's awesome. What are you using for the physics there?
It's no physics. It's no physics at all there actually.
What is it?
It's just a line renderer, and then it's just automatically uh, calculating based off of the velocity where it needs to go and how to draw the lines, and then it uses you could set how many segments of the line it uses and stuff like that.
Well, but somehow, somehow Pickle Rick is moving.
Yeah, it's
So
no physics at all. It's no
really,
he don't even have a rigid body. It's just
oh, the
all
geez, that would kill me. Ah, ah,
it's all manual translation.
oh, oh, that, dude, that would kill me. See, I'd use Hurricane, and that would be a physics rig. There'd be a joint where it's connected to the ship, and then
Yeah,
a
but
chain of joints for the rope, and then
I can't do that in the ship because
right.
if you got like one physics body inside of another one, then you start getting all kind of weird stuff, and like it doesn't follow correctly and all kind of stuff like that.
Hmm. Anyway, interesting. Yeah, I love to see videos. Right.
And then with the without having the physics, then I know exactly the type of movement I'm gonna get because
Yeah.
I'm making it. I don't have to worry about, although I mean those the janky out of control movement that you get sometimes, when you get like an arm spinning around or something on a or like
I,
the body comes apart and is spinning in different, that's always good for the memes, I guess.
Actually, the stabbing with Puppet Master is brutal because when I stab somebody, I unpin that muscle, so and they fall over. But because that muscle, what I did is for a while I had it so that the muscle would be pinned again when you unstab the item, right?
Hmm.
And so you would stab a guy in a leg, he would fall, and then he couldn't get up again because that muscle was no longer pinned. So he would go through a cycle of trying to get up, and it's not all the same. Right, is physics driven, so it's not just the same get up animation over and over again. So these guys would lay on the floor and thrash, and if you stab them in the shoulder, they're trying to get up, but and it's kind of brutal watching a dude
Yeah.
twitch like that.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking I have to remember to put some kind of timeout on that. Otherwise, you're gonna watch watch these people suffer. Like when you kill a
Yeah.
dude, maybe he falls, he twitches a couple of times, and he's done. But otherwise, I saw a guy dying like that, and I was like, this is brutal. It's
Oh, so
violent.
here's one more that I just remembered about. This one's just a little keypad that I have in
Mhm.
there, which is this is no physics either. The buttons,
Yeah, yeah,
you can't really tell in the video, but the buttons do move up and down with the push. The zero, you could kind of see it there a little bit, but
yeah.
because
Ooh,
I don't have a
boop, boop,
material
boop.
on there,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
but uh but yeah, so basically what I'm gonna do with that is that's gonna be one of the things, like whenever you die, when you get destroyed and you have to do
Right.
something to respawn, that's gonna be one of the things. So you gotta like find the proper code, and
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I'm working on a physical manual that you have to flip through, and they'll have different things in it. Like, so I'm toying with that instead of doing like like in the settings menu or something like that, where it shows you all
Yeah.
the controls. Like, have a physical manual that you have to flip through and look at to see what
Oh,
controls
yeah.
what, and then like it'll have the different codes that do different things in the ship.
Jesus, I've got to remember. I told you that one game about flying a space capsule. I can't think of the name of it, but you haven't played that. You're gonna die when you see that. Well, maybe you don't even want to, right? Hey, you want to take a minute? And of course, the Unity Asset Store is having a big, it's their Black Friday sort of promotion. They have flash deals on. You want to take a minute and go over some
Yeah, let's do it.
assets? We can talk about what we have and what we want,
Let's do
what
it.
we like. Here,
Uh,
I'm going to share my screen.
Unity Asset
Here, wait a minute.
Store.
Share. All right,
Uh,
I'm
How, how
gonna.
many how many assets you think you've bought
Oh dear God,
that you never
I mean,
use?
oh my God. Hey, the worst part is they're deprecated assets. I have a ton of things that I purchased, and over the years they're just gone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't worry too much about that. But I spent thousands and thousands. Probably the most. I the asset store is phenomenally profitable for Unity.
Oh,
And
how many people you think's gonna get this on the front page? 70% off Polygon Apocalypse Pack Senti.
yeah, boy, they people love those Cinti things because to me it's always a whenever I see that, when I just get turned off right by Cinti assets. Not that I don't love them.
They look
I mean, it
good,
looks
but they don't really work. They don't translate well for VR because they're like, it's got a low poly look, but the poly count on them really kind of high.
yeah,
Like
agreed, totally
a
agree.
lot of this stuff is not really like super low poly, other than like the characters, but like a lot of the like level assets are like really way more polys than what you want.
Well, even the characters are heavy. Cinti characters are much heavier than they need to be,
Yeah, yeah.
and you know I'm not a huge fan of the look, and mostly because it's so recognizable. When I
Mm-hmm.
see a game, hey guys, I see a post on Reddit, hey guys, my new game, and they show basically a Cinti level
Yeah,
with
yeah.
no gameplay. And anytime I see this on App Lab, Cinti characters, I mean the work itself is phenomenal. I like their props and you know environments
Yeah, I
better
mean,
than their characters.
it all looks good for the most part.
hmm
Um,
But oh, geez, a camper. See, now I want it. It's got a camper, and it's those are some nice cars. But I stay away from those. Let's go back to Flash. And
let's
the deal
see.
with the Flash, the Flash sale is such a ripoff to me because the price increases and they're playing you. They're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
they're doing mobile phone in-app purchase crap on you. It's like buy it now while it's cheap or it's going up, and you never get these assets, these flash sales.
Yeah.
Eh, that's a
Feel is on
I
sale. That's a good one. I use that. Actually,
what
that
is
Feel. Actually, so the video I showed you with the
uh-huh.
UI and that I showed you with
Really
the UI and the
that's
that's what I used right there. Feel. I bought it last time it was on sale, and man, it's really a good asset. It gives you a lot of visual feedback. You can add in
uh-huh.
haptic feedbacks. You can add in sound feedbacks, and it just makes it to where because normally you'd have to code in all that stuff yourself,
hmm
but that's
hmm
one asset that I do like because
Hold on, let me
it
just
just
read the
works.
let me
Play
just
the
read
video
the
there. Play the video.
oh, okay. Boom. Hold on. Where's my audio? Yeah. Yeah. Well, Well, I know what I'm buying. I'm
Yeah,
buying that.
it's
That looks
it
handy.
it is it really is. I love that one.
Yeah,
Um,
deal. Hmm.
yeah,
All right.
it's good.
Let's here. Let's just go through some of these. Cinti, okay. World building bundle. I have a lot of different, world building tools. I find I don't use them. When I was working on Slenderman, I had dreams that I would build these big open world environments, but that's a little much for indies.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Flat
Oh,
shading toolkit.
Odin
I'm sorry,
Inspector, that's a good one.
which one?
Oh, it's a
Odin?
little
Do
further
you
down.
use
Yeah,
Odin?
yeah. I use
Do
it.
you use do you actually build it in your
No, it doesn't get built into the game, into the
no,
build.
no, well, do you build editors for it and such?
Yeah, yeah. I started making because eventually eventually I want to make a level editor.
Hmm.
So I've been playing around with Odin to do that.
Right, right. Okay. So Odin is basically their editor extensions, right?
Yeah, you can, and like because normally you'd have to write your own editor scripts to have different kind of
Hmm.
inspectors and different but with Odin, it just makes it real easy to like make your own inspectors and stuff like that.
Right, but there's no way to you couldn't share the inspector if somebody didn't have Odin, right?
Right? Yeah, they'd have to have.
Yeah.
hmm
Hmm. Okay. Interesting stuff. Um,
Bakery. That's on sale. That's a good one.
Hey, I have it. I haven't used it much. Yeah, I started playing with it. I was like, for what I'm doing right now, right at this moment, I don't need to worry about baking.
Yeah, I don't.
You know?
I mean, I just use the built-in baker,
Yeah, yeah,
because nothing. I don't have like any huge worlds or anything like that. So it's just you know.
yeah.
Let's see more. Let's see. Final IK. You use Final
But
IK?
yeah, Final IK is if you're using Puppet Master, you need Final IK. Puppet Master is a add-on to Final IK,
Okay.
and actually now's a good time. Did I spell that wrong? Hmm. Now is a good time, with these sales. Puppet Master and Final IK are generally go on sale. They're expensive. Why can't I find Puppet Master? Oh, you know what? I have flash deals checked. That was my fault. Okay.
Ooh,
So,
Mesh Baker. I haven't used that one,
well,
but
here, Puppet Master is down. It's on sale for 45 right now. Okay. And let me just check to see if Final AK is on sale. All right. So 45 for each one. That's $90. That's a steal. Those are
yeah,
great assets if you know what I mean? All right.
that's not bad.
Here we go. You let me go back to the one
Does
which one were you saying? Skin mesh?
oh, Mesh
I was thinking
Baker?
about skin mesh dismemberment. I was thinking about trying this out because you can remove limbs, and I thought I might go with the stabbing. Could they? What they're doing here is they're just scaling down the limb to zero
Yeah,
when it gets destroyed.
that's what I used to do in Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's
going
interesting.
back to Puppet Master real quick.
Hmm.
If you were only gonna use like if you're not using full characters and say you're just using like avatars with like just basically hands, is it
Hmm.
still worth to get it if you're just gonna use it for hands?
Well, it depends what you mean. Um, Final IK actually has hand IK in it, and so between either Final IK or Puppet Master, they're going to have what you need. So, do you want to represent? Do you want to use VRIK to represent your own hands and body, or do you want to manipulate hands on character?
Okay, got you.
Right? And it just it's really well done set of physics libraries, and like I said, it's just you know this is physically simulated fighting system, right? And different parts of the body can take damage in different ways, and there is a ragdoll creator for it, and the ragdoll creator is good enough for 3D. but VR is different than 3D, and
Yeah.
accurate colliders are super important. When you notice, like when you grab an object in VR and the collider's wrong,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is weird, right?
That's when you
But
buy Technique, and that one's probably on sale too, I bet.
which one?
The Technique Collider Creator.
Yes, exactly. That's what I use. Here's a good example of using Puppet Master. In this case, they've pinned a hand to an anchor, and so the character is hanging off it, and it doesn't have to behave like a ragdoll. It can
Hmm.
still play animations mixed in with the ragdoll
Yeah.
behavior. So, if that's the behavior you were looking for.
How about UMotion Pro? You use that one?
What is that one? You
That's an
motion. I don't know what it
animation.
is.
That's a like for animation in the editor.
I own it. I just don't use it. Again, I'm doing I buy a lot of animation
Hmm.
libraries. If I have a soldier animation or whatever. So this allows you basically to edit. Why is this something you use? Hey, is this Cinti?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Do you use this?
No, I don't.
No.
I have it, but I haven't used it. I haven't needed it yet. I may look. I may
Asset
look in. I may look into it though. But I mean, right now the only thing I have to animate is hands.
right. Assets we own but never use.
Yeah.
Here, hey, one of the things I really like doing is the new release discounts. I love hopping on these. So generally I do 96 and I sort by publish date so I can try to get, you know, new stuff.
I'll probably
I
pick this one up.
what
All
what one?
in all in one VFX toolkit. I love buying VFX assets.
Oh, is it on my page or no?
It should
You're
be. Let me see. Hang on. And then
say the name again, Squirrely.
it's called All in One VFX Toolkit.
And again, no, maybe it's my new release discounts.
Oh yeah, if you got it filtered by new release, that's why.
Yeah. All at once?
All in
No,
one. All
all
in
in one.
one.
All in one.
VF
SDK? Is that
V
it?
All in one VFX toolkit. Oh, instead of spelling out one, just type number one. That's why I probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's it.
Here we go. All right. So you have particles and yeah,
Yeah, I love any VFX assets. I love those.
yeah. I
Just
have a
because,
bunch of those.
just because if you create those by scratch, it takes
Yeah.
a lot of time, to get them to look right most of the time. So like, and most of the time, the VFX packs are, they drag and drop, and they're gonna work for what you need most
Oh,
of the time.
absolutely. And you can generally find something in the style of what you're
Yeah, it's
working with,
easy. It's easy to match whatever style that you have. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so art style, what are you doing for art? Like I buy a lot of I buy a lot of textures from the asset store. I do have some made sometime. I hire somebody on Fiverr to do that. But your game, you're doing all the art and you're baking it yourself.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Yep. Hey, what do you
Which I'm thinking about outsourcing now that I have the base textures for like
mhm.
the ships and everything. I'm thinking about outsourcing that to have somebody just make me new textures for like different skin variations.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. That's a good idea. Um I've had good luck with Fiverr people, you know.
Hmm.
So you
I
gotta
used it. I used it a couple times. I've used Fiverr a couple times, and I've used a freelancer.
mhm.
I had better luck on freelancer than I did on Fiverr.
Did you really? Was it a bigger job?
No, it wasn't really
I'm
a bigger job. It was just the guy did it a lot faster and did it
mhm.
better.
Just the person.
I mean,
All right.
I paid a little more too. I paid like I think it was $30 or something like that versus $10 I paid on Fiverr.
Oh, oh, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Instead, you get what you pay for, right?
Hmm.
Um, Here, publish date. One of the things I do is I also go to the physics section and look for anything new. You know what I mean? Physical AI, whatever, controllers, and yeah, nothing that good for VR.
Oh
But
wait, I
anyway,
think
all right.
what was this one? Oh yeah, Rayfire. Do you use that one? Have you used it?
Oh yeah, I love Rayfire. I
That
have
one that
it.
one's on sale.
Yeah, Rayfire is inexpensive. I'm sure I got it on sale.
It's on sale for
It's
50% off. It's normally 215. It's on
hmm
sale for
yeah.
107.50.
Rayfire is phenomenal. It runs on mobile too. Runs on Quest. I mean, you
Ooh,
gotta know. I mean, you gotta know. You gotta dial it back a little bit. But dear God, it's a nice asset. I have it. I have uh, one thing
I think I lost your mic there. Can you still hear me?
my back.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, sorry, dude. I muted myself. You're gonna have to edit that.
Yeah, no problem.
Shit. All right, back to Rayfire. All right. The nice thing about Rayfire is that it fits in well in VR with Hexabody because it works with a Unity physics system. And one of the first tests I did, a lot of games I see that do use Rayfire, they don't really tweak the properties so that a porcelain toilet breaks with the exact same force as like a cement
Hmm.
brick. So you just
Yeah.
walk up to something and it breaks. I was like, I know Rayfire can do better than that. So I started playing with it, and it was very easy to go set up you know, I did meter boxes, and I just
Does
had
it run
if
okay in VR?
yes, it does. Runs great. Runs great. You have to. I mean, it's got settings like anything. So when it shatters, you can specify that it shatters in a million pieces or 10
Yeah.
pieces, right?
I may pick that one up and use it for like some hidden doors or something like that, that go to some
You,
hidden corridors and stuff like that,
you know what? That's what I was thinking of using mine for, and it's easy to use. It's super well documented. There are tutorial videos. It just it's a complex plugin that they've done a great job of documenting. So I think it's usable, and
I
there
go ahead.
there are other damage toolkits, but here, just real quick, um, it can do some fabulous
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Again, if you're on mobile, you're going to have to scale some of this down,
Right,
right?
right.
But I was just thinking the other day, I'm dying to do a world-based editor. Like I have a platformer game I don't know what to do with, but that would, if I had an in-game editor so players could make their own levels, that would be so compelling. I was thinking, there's no reason you couldn't have Rayfire on all your objects. That makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And also the other thing I want to have in my game is I want to have there's a fire simulation, fire propagation system I want to try out, and I love the idea of being able to go. We'd take a piece of wood, stick it in a fire, catch it on fire, and
Mhm.
watch it burn, and then go use that fire somewhere else to like light a chair on fire,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I mean, anytime we can do those. The other thing I'm dying to play with in VR is magnets. There are several small magnet plugins, and theoretically using Hurricane and Hexabody with the physical hands, these should all feel like magnets
Mhm. Mhm.
in real life. You should, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I may,
I got a good one for you.
but
Unless you may use this one already though. Maybe
but
it's called hold up, my window went away. Volumetric light beam.
Oh, we talked about that one in a previous one. I do own it, and I'm just not at the point where I'm ready to worry about lighting. But I think I that's a great toolkit, and it also runs well on mobile, right?
It runs really good, and
Yeah,
it looks
that's
super good. It looks like
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. That's a big deal, I think. But no, I'm dying to, you know, that's the problem with doing these games is there's always one more thing you want to try,
hmm
right? It's like, oh, I bet that's cool. I know.
I
So,
know.
so
Feature
yeah,
creep.
right, exactly. Well, that's what the for me. This is all fun at this point. It's all fun. I
Yeah.
get to play with some technology I like, and you know. All right. Well, that's our show for today. Just a bunch of gear VR geeks uh, nerding out over the asset store. And you know what? I have a feeling a lot of people listening spend a lot on the asset store too. So I'm not too embarrassed. All right, folks. Well, hope to see you again next week. Thanks again for joining us. Out.
Later.
Yeah.